Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever circumstance you might be in. Welcome to Easy as Pie with Mr. Carpenter. I'm Mr. Carpenter, and elimination is our favorite of the two methods for solving systems for a couple of reasons, but the big one is that it's going to be our primary method of taking care of systems of three equations, right, with three variables, and that's one that stumps a lot of Algebra 2 students. So having a solid foundation in elimination is very important as a prerequisite for that. So I thought I'd take a second and go over elimination in case you need a refresher or you forgot something. That way you can have this video as a reference. So looking at the system over here, if we try to do substitution, we're going to run into a bit of a hiccup, right? Because we're going to take two steps no matter what to isolate one of our variables. So that's a lot of work. And if we pick the wrong one, we're going to end up with fractions, right? In some systems, no matter what we do, we're going to end up with fractions. And students tend to find fractions to be gross, which makes sense. But watch what I do, or watch what happens if I take those two equations and add them together, right? Like you did in the fourth grade, where you do like 19 plus 5, and you draw a line, you do the plus sign, just like that. Watch what happens. 6x plus 4x equals 10x. 2y plus negative 2y, or 2y minus 2y, is 0. So watch my y variable as it completely disappears. And 10 plus 10 is 20. And notice in one fell swoop, I have went from two equations with two variables to one equation with one variable. And I avoided all the legwork that would have been necessary with substitution. So now it's just one step away. I just have to divide both sides by 10. X equals 20 divided by 10 is 2. And now I just plug that back into one of my equations to find out the other one, right? So 4 times x plus 2y equals 10. 4 times 2 is 8. And now it's just a two-stepper, right? I have to subtract 8 from both sides. 10 minus 8 is 2. And then I just have to divide by 2. And 2 divided by 2 is 1. So now we have a very satisfying ending to our problem because we used elimination. And it is going to be a matter of choosing between one or the other. A lot of students will pick one method that they like, and it's their ride or die. And they'll do it for every single system till death do them part. And I don't recommend that because a lot of problems, or at least a lot of algebra in general, is looking at your ability to pick the appropriate method to solve a problem, right? The one that's the path of least resistance. And a lot of the times the regents and exams will structure questions in that way where it's looking for you to pick the method of least resistance. So being able to see those end games ahead of time and adjust your strategy accordingly is going to be an important skill to attain. For this one, you definitely could go with either method. Let's just do elimination anyways. Now, once again, what is our end game? What are we looking for? Well, we're looking to add these two equations together and have one of my variables cancel out. Right now, I don't have that, right? Because as you saw, I would need inverses, right? A -2 and a 2, a 4 and a -4. And I don't have that right now. I said I have a 2 and a 1, and I have a 5 and a -2. So instead, what I can do is I can look at these equations and go, well, what can I do to turn this into something where I can use elimination? And I'm specifically looking at these two variables right here, right? One's a 2 and one's a 1. It would be really awesome if that was a -2, right? Because then I could add them together and it would cancel out. Well, it can be a -2. All I have to do is multiply that whole equation by -2. And that is our strategy. So watch what happens. 2x plus 5y, just rewriting the top equation. -2 times x is -2x. Notice what I just got there. I got opposites. That was my goal. -2 times -2y is positive 4y. And -2 times -4 is positive 8. And now I'm in a position where adding together will cause my two variables to cancel out. 2 plus -2 is 0. Those cancel. 5y plus 4y is 9y. And 19 plus 8 is 27. And now all I have to deal with is that multiplied by 9. It's 27 divided by 9 is 3. And that goes back in. X minus 2 times y equals negative 4. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And now that's a one step, right? I just have to add 6 to both sides. Negative 4 plus 6 is positive 2. And that is my coordinate of intersection. So that's elimination. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know, and have a great rest of your day.